In the smoky hills of Vang Vieng, this is Bro Teach Me Crypto, episode 6. So today we're going to be talking about staking.
Yep.
This builds on episode 4. We talked about what is Solana.
Yep.
And towards the tail end of that video, we covered proof of stake, which was that alternative method of creating a blockchain and keeping it secure, opposed to proof of work.
Yep.
So let's just do a quick recap of proof of stake because it's pretty crucial to staking. To recap on proof of stake, validators lock up Sol.
Yep.
The more Sol that they lock up, the greater chance they get chosen to be the block leader.
Yep.
And when they're the block leader and when they vote, they earn Sol rewards
in
the Sol token. And that's pretty much it. When you think of blockchains on crypto, we've talked about it being decentralized and also like permissionless, meaning that anyone can get involved. And that's basically what staking is. It allows the individuals in the network that might not have enough Solana to be a validator to still earn the rewards from Solana's sort of economic activity.
Okay.
So when we talked about proof of stake, the validators need stake to put up to vote and earn rewards. Whilst whoever's chosen to lead is down to probability somewhat, it is stake weighted. Meaning that the
more you stake, the more like.
Yeah. And so what we can do is we can say, right, I'm going to delegate you my Sol to kind of like lock it up with you. Then they use that Sol to participate in proof of stake.
Yep.
And then when they earn rewards, you get your share of those rewards. And that's what staking is.
Why wouldn't you just do it yourself?
Because if you want to be a validator, you need quite a lot of Sol, and you also need to run the hardware and the software.
So it's like
Quite a high upfront cost.
But like the only people who do it is kind of like rich people who don't have the time to be a validator or the hardware.
Staking?
Yeah.
No, staking doesn't cost you anything to do.
No, but I mean to be a validator.
Yeah.
So if you've got the validator, right, and you need a certain amount of Sol to be a validator, you're saying staking is someone else lending in that Sol and earning a share of the rewards they make for validating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't the initial person with all the Sol just validate themselves?
Well, they will be. But if people stake with them, then they've got more Sol in their stake pool. So they're more likely to get chosen and earn their...
So it's the other way around. People with less Sol give the people with more Sol even more Sol.
Correct.
Yeah. Alright, bro.
So, staking is the act of locking up tokens to help blockchain like create blocks in the hopes that you get Sol rewards for doing so.
Yep.
Your stake is the amount of Sol that you put up, so those tokens are called the stake. Another word which we're going to use quite a lot is a pool. In crypto, a pool's sort of like just a collection of tokens.
Yeah.
Kind of like a collective noun, which we're talking about, isn't it? So in short, staking is you and I delegating our Sol tokens to a validator.
Yep.
Who use those to do proof of stake.
Yeah. Which he gets rewards for if he's right, and then we get a percentage of those rewards.
Spot on. Yeah. There we go. And so that's what staking is. But who actually benefits from this staking business, right? And we can talk about the 3 different beneficiaries, those being the users, the validators, and the Solana network. So users, let's say you just hold Sol, right? Now, what you actually might have not realized so far is that Solana is actually inflationary. So every year or so, it's a 6% inflation right now. It drops over time, a bit like Bitcoin. But that means that if you're just holding Sol,
It'll go down.
its purchasing power falls over time.
Yep.
It's just like holding dollars in a bank and not investing them.
Yep.
So by staking, you're basically earning your share of that inflation reward. So your Solana position won't lose its value over time. You'll actually earn Solana and keep up, if not outpace the inflation.
Got it.
So that's one reason why it's good for users to stake. A second reason is that when we talked before about how blockchains can fork, and that can be due to like people using different versions of the blockchain, they have votes on that. And so by staking with a certain validator, you can
choose your fork.
Yeah, you can have your say on the future of Solana's network, for example. And so those are like the main two reasons for users why they should stake. So what about validators, right? Why is it good for them?
So they would get a higher chance of becoming a block leader the more people that stake with them.
Yeah. And why is that good? Earn more rewards.
Yeah. They have to share it out more as well.
Yeah, but they're also more likely to be chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a validator, not only does it earn fees from voting, like you said, it also earns fees when it's the block leader.
Yep.
Because people are paying transaction fees to them as well. So it's sort of like a double whammy for the validators. And then the last winner is the Solana network, because the more Sol that's staked, it makes it a bit like when you have more people mining, the network becomes more decentralized and stronger.
Yep.
So it's good for it in that sense. And also, if you think about in an economy, if more people locked up their dollars, there'd be less in circulation. And so it may sort of keep the currency stronger.
If you imagine it's a big raffle ticket thing, right? There's a certain amount of tickets, but you've got to spend a certain amount to actually even buy a ticket, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's like loads of people giving their money to one really rich guy who can buy loads of tickets to get a higher percentage chance of winning the raffle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then they share the profit if he wins.
Yeah, it's a pretty good analogy. Except there's no cost to the ticket.
Yeah.
Good analogy. Like it.
If you're staking, you're likely to make between 6 and 30% on your shit per year. Is it the percentage you make that just determines on who you stake with and how kind of lucky they are?
Yeah, it fluctuates. And we'll talk about liquid staking in a minute.
Yeah.
But one of the benefits of that is that it's very easy to switch between validators. So if one's outperforming, you can just hop into that one.
There can be a situation where you're with like a shit validator and he validates incorrectly and loses money. Or doesn't make any money.
Yeah. But it's pretty unlikely. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. No. In the next part of the lesson, we're going to look at the two types of staking.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is native staking, and that was like the predecessor, the OG.
Yep.
And then part 2, we'll talk about liquid staking, and that's like the new hot shot on the scene.
Go.
All right, so native staking is the first one. I'll run you through like 3 steps of how it actually works. So just like we've talked about, you or I would take our Sol and deposit it into a stake account.
Yeah.
With the validator. Yeah.
Is it literally like a thing where you like pick your validator when you make the account?
Yeah. It's a bit like an escrow, like we talked about before.
And how many are there, like roughly validators?
Oh,
thousands or?
I'd say there's close to 2,000, maybe just over. So you pick your validator.
Yep.
You take your Sol and you put it into a stake account with the validator, whereupon it's locked.
Mm-hmm.
The validator then takes that Sol and uses it to participate in proof of stake.
Yep.
And then any rewards that they earn in Sol are put back into the stake account.
Yep.
But you have to, if you want to claim those rewards, you have to manually claim them.
Yep.
And then to compound your gains, you'd have to restake those gains. So you have to go in, claim it, and put it back in.
Yeah.
So that's native staking. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of that. Okay, so the pros and cons of native staking. So there's no, because this is like, remember when we talked about smart contracts and we were talking about, is this code that's in the Solana code or something built up on top of it?
Yep.
And this is sort of built into the foundation of the blockchain.
Yep.
Like it's the original code. Yeah. And so you can do native staking without having to go through an intermediary.
Got it.
In that way, it's maybe a bit less risky.
Yeah. But I've got a question. Picking your validator is quite like an important step of the process. It'll depend quite a lot on how much kind of rewards you earn. Is there like a website or something where you can like see the performance of every validator?
Of course.
There is.
Of course. I'll show you in a minute.
Is there kind of like a little like competition going on? Like, oh, I've top validator now.
Of course. Yeah. Everyone's trying to be the best validator, and everyone's trying to get the best yield.
Why is it not always best to go with the validator with the most other people staking with now?
Yeah,
if they're more like there, people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, the stake plays into how people are going to be chosen, but as I said, it is also probability.
Yeah.
And so they could get unlucky for a string of blocks.
Yeah.
But also, different validators offer. There's not one way that a validator earns SOL rewards.
Right.
There's multiple different ways, and some validators only give, let's say, like a fraction of those.
Got it.
So they might have a large amount of stake.
Yeah.
But if they're not giving those extra rewards, then people might look to the competitors.
So ideally, you'd want a really good validator with good rewards and a lot of people taking it, which doesn't really happen that much.
Oh, it happens. There's a few that I can think of, and I will talk about. We've already done one pro. The second pro is there's no risk of what's known as an LST depeg. Right. So LST is just an acronym for liquid staking token.
Right.
And this will it all makes sense in a minute. But when you have stable coins,
Just wait for them to go.
Yeah. It'll make sense in a moment. But when you have stable coins, they're pegged to the dollar.
Yeah.
And they should always hold their value. Yeah. If it depegs, it loses its 1-to-1 ratio.
Yep.
And with these liquid staking tokens, they can also lose their peg.
This is a pro.
This is a pro of native staking because this can't happen.
Right.
So a depegging can't happen.
Yeah.
This will make more sense in a minute.
Yeah.
Now the cons of native staking is that they don't compound automatically because you got to go in and do it yourself.
Yep.
When you stake, you got to lock them up and you can't use that SOL for anything else. So you couldn't spend it, you couldn't lend it out, you couldn't use it as collateral to trade. It's locked. Mm-hmm. So it's locked liquidity. And the third con is that when you do unstake, you have a cooldown period of 2 days, approximately. So it's harder to change between competitors. Let's say if one was really good and you want their yield, it's going to take you a bit longer to get out of it.
Yep.
Compared to liquid staking.
Yep.
Okay, and it's a good segue onto liquid staking. So this is, like I said, this is the hot shot on the scene.
Yep.
So a liquid staking token is a token that represents a share in a stake pool.
Yep.
So we've already said, let's say you come to me and you give me 10 SOL to my stake pool. Let's say there's nothing else, just 10 SOL, just for the example. And in return, I give you 10 bro SOL. Okay. And that's bro SOL, like squished together.
Yep.
That's usually how LST tokens, like they look.
Yep.
So I give you 10 bro SOL back.
Yep.
So I then take that 10 SOL you've given me and participate in proof of stake.
Yep.
And earn rewards like we've already talked about.
Yep.
And when I earn the rewards, let's say I've earned 1 SOL, I put that 1 SOL back into the pool.
Yep.
Or add it to the pool, I should say. And now there's 11 SOL in the stake pool.
Yep.
And that makes your 10 bro SOL, because they represent 100% of my stake pool.
Yep. 11 SOL.
They represent 11 SOL.
Yep.
And so each bro SOL
is worth a little bit more than 1 SOL.
1.1 SOL. Yep. So you take 11 SOL divided by 10, 1.1.
Sorry.
And let's say again, just to make the concrete point, I keep doing proof of stake and I earn another SOL.
Yeah.
So we're up to 12 sol in the stake pool.
Yeah.
And again, because your 10 bro sol
Yeah.
are equivalent to my whole stake pool.
Yeah.
And there's now 12 sol in there. You take 12, divide it by 10, and your bro sol is 1.2 sol.
Good.
And so that's how an LST token works, basically.
Got you.
It adds the rewards to the pool and issues these liquid staking tokens, which represent the entire stake pool. Yeah, as this happens over time, the bro sol increases its ratio in terms of sol.
Yeah.
So in the example, we got to 1.2 sol. But over time, 1 bro sol could be worth 10 sol.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to go up.
Yeah, because all the rewards, instead of being put into a separate thing, are baked into the price.
Yep.
And so all these LST tokens are essentially they're essentially just sort of like Solana representatives.
Yeah.
They're not directly Sol, but their value comes totally from Sol and the rewards that come from staking.
Have you got to be staking in the stake pool to buy Bro Solar? Or can a third party buy Bro Sol without staking, relying on the it's going to go
exactly. So that's like how liquid staking works. It's baked into the price.
Yep.
And so let's talk about the pros of that. You know how when you do native staking, you've got to lock up your Sol.
Yeah.
So you can't use it for anything. You can't spend it, lend it, use it as collateral, or earn extra yield on it.
Yep.
With liquid staking, you can take that Bro Sol and you could sell it.
Yep.
You could earn yield on it. You could use it as collateral to open up trades. Mm-hmm. And so you basically earn the rewards without having to sacrifice locking up your money.
Got
And that's revolutionary. Still today, most of the Solana is locked natively. It's staked natively.
Yep.
Meaning that all that money is locked up. It can't do anything productive with it.
Yep.
But if you can imagine what the economic benefits if all that money was unlocked and used within Solana's economy.
Yeah.
That's probably the main benefit of liquid staking.
Right. Surely having it locked up is kind of good for the economy of Solana as well. It's true. Think about the stock market, right?
Yeah.
Imagine a stock market where once you invest, your money's locked and you can't do anything with it, so you take it out. That's what native staking is pretty much.
Yeah.
If the whole stock market was like that, and then they said, right, suddenly all this money's released, everyone can spend it, isn't that just kind of like massive inflation for Solana economy? They released all the...
Well, the thing is, because Solana's inflation is fixed, then inflation's never going to skyrocket.
No, I know, but I'm saying big percentage of the money right now is being natively staked.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everyone switched over to this genius, revolutionary liquid staking where you can still spend money whilst it's staked.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Surely the Solana price would go down because there'd be so much more excess Solana in the market all of a sudden.
If loads of Sol came into market, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about the LSTs, right? You take your 10 Sol and you put it into my pool, and you get 10 Bro Sol back.
Yeah.
So I've still got the 10 Sol, even if I was a native validator or a liquid staking validator. You can then, you take your 10 Bro Sol and you use it as collateral to open up a trade.
Yeah.
I've still got the 10 Sol.
Yeah.
The 10 Sol that I've got is still never going to enter the market because it's still locked up staking. So therefore, it would never impact price. Do you understand?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah? Yeah. Capiche. Great question, because that is hard to understand. Yeah. All right. Another pro is that, we said with native staking, there's a cooldown for 2 days. So with liquid staking, it's very easy to jump between the best validator. And so you keep yields high.
Yep. It's also good to incentivize validators to do good validation.
Yeah. Exactly. Keeps them on their toes.
Yep.
And the last pro is that something that came into Solana in recent years is something called priority fees. And this is basically a fee the URI could pay to get our transaction sort of included first or at the first bit of a block.
Yep.
And native staking, there's stuff being built, but it's much easier for validators to pass on these extra fees. And by the way, these fees are making up a huge amount of the yields at the moment. Just to put some numbers to that, native staking, you can expect like between 4 to 8% yield a year.
Yep.
And the best LSTs range between, again, from the low end, but range between 10 to 30%.
Yep.
So those high yields are only really seen on liquid staking at the moment. I guess the main con, and it was kind of like a pro of the native staking, was that that LST depeg. So like we said already, in the pool, you'll have the sol, and you've got the 10 bro sol representing that.
Yeah.
Let's say there's an exploit or a hack, or maybe the guy that set up the LST thing just runs away with it. Because your bro sol is only representing my sol, they could just sort of take the sol.
Yep.
Or even if it was even if they had good intentions and the ratio fell, your bro sol would no longer be equivalent to that 10 sol that you first burned.
Right.
So that's just like one of the big risks. It talks about native and liquid staking and the pros and cons of both. Personally, I'm a big fan of liquid staking because you can use it, earn on it, spend it, use it as collateral. And it opens up a lot of opportunities that are not possible when you lock up your sol with native staking. And probably the most well-known liquid staking platform on Solana is called Sanctum. And on their site, like we said before, you can see all the different liquid staking tokens and compare their yields, as well as a bunch of other different metrics, right?
Nice.
So let's take a look at them now, and let's buy your first LST.
Nice one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Sanctum, connect the wallet.
And then, if you let me see if... So here are the LSTs, right?
Yep.
And
This is a yield.
yeah. So APY is the yield. And then you can sort, it's already done, I think. Yeah, it's sort of based on the last 5 epochs. That's just like a time period on the blockchain.
Yep.
And so here you can see all the different ones and their yields ranked.
Yep.
So you can choose any one you want, but this only shows the last 5 epochs, which is about 10 days.
Yeah.
But if you go to the top there, it says INF. I don't know if you saw it. If you just scroll up there. Yeah, so Infinity. This is an LST that Sanctum have come up with, and it's different from the rest because instead of being based just on a validator's performance, what they do is they have a basket of the highest performing liquid staking tokens.
Yeah.
Let's say for the last 5 epochs, like it says. I'm not sure how long it is exactly. So they take the highest performing ones, and they're constantly doing that and rebalancing. And therefore, you get the highest performing liquid staking tokens aggregated.
Yeah.
Not only that, they also generate fees from charging a small fee from when people swap between the liquid staking tokens.
Yeah.
And they also add that onto the yield. So you kind of get the standard yield from the validators, plus them picking the highest performing ones, plus the extra fees generated from people swapping between the two.
So why is the APY on that lower than this one?
So that's just for the last 5 epochs. So you can have a look at it over time. I don't know if you click on it, maybe it shows. But that's the one that I use the most.
Okay. That sounds fucking good there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Trade?
Yeah.
How much sold? Alright.
So it's 0.46, so maybe just put 0.2 sol in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy it.
Yeah. Then confirm transaction. There you go.
Nice.
You're earning yield.